Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It podcast. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is Mr. RadioPete. It is Wednesday, August the 2nd. This is a special Mets Corner edition. No full show tonight, although Pete and I may actually do some form of a full show anyway, just because we're those kind of guys, you know. Whatchamacallit? Harry is not with us tonight. Vacations abound, work abounds, so we will be doing this podcast just as a duo tonight. We're off next week, and we'll be back at you the regular way 2 weeks from tonight. So anyway, how are you this evening, RadioPete?
Yeah, back at you the regular way. That is,
back at you the regular way, exactly. Says it all right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I try not to get too involved in the football preseason, because it means nothing. I mean, it's kind of interesting to talk about or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But without that, what the hell am I going to do with sports? I mean, we've got the Women's World Cup going on. And, the USA being not exactly the USA, right? The Netherlands won the round. The USA moves on to the knockouts, but still, just
you say the
reason.
Netherlands or the Meadowlands? I couldn't.
The Netherlands. I think it was the Netherlands.
It wasn't anyway. The Meadowlands.
Some other team.
Yeah, you're right. I got one word for you. What we could concentrate on for the month of August, though. Pickleball.
Yeah. My point is, it's not going to be the Yankees or the Mets.
No.
Because what the hell for?
What the hell?
I know I guess the Yankees have more of a shot at anything than anything, and Aaron Judge is back and all that. But I don't think they're making it.
No,
they didn't make any significant moves. They didn't really make a push for it. And New York, I think we can say this season might officially, for real, be the season that New York more or less stopped being a destination for players in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I know it's still New York. I know the Yankees have history, but we talked about this. I think we were talking about this either this season or last season with the Knicks. And these younger players, they don't have that same sense of history.
No.
They, yes, they know about the Yankees and the most championships and all that, but it's not, people, again, talking about the Knicks, it's the Ole and the Garden and one of the original teams. That doesn't mean as much to some kid who's 22, 23, 24.
And has never experienced it and has barely even heard about it. Right?
Yeah. Now, the Yankees have a slightly more recent tradition of winning. That is to say, when did they win their last World Series? Was
14 years ago.
Yeah, which was, much more than when the Knicks won their last championship.
Right.
But again, it's not.
Let's put it this way. The Jets, it's been 54 years, or almost 55 years since the Jets won a Super Bowl. The last time the Knicks won a championship was only a few years after that.
Yeah, it was only a couple of years after that, right? It was 73.
73, yeah.
But the thing about, and we'll talk about the Yankees first, or since I already started that, it's one thing to say, oh, it's not George Steinbrenner's Yankees, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that. And there's never going to be another team that is like a George Steinbrenner team.
No.
Right? That just doesn't. You have crazy owners, you have really rich owners, but no one is like George.
No.
Right? And oddly it's a combination of crazy and money and the willingness to spend it the way George Steinbrenner did.
But more on that in a minute.
Let me make one other point, and then I'll shut up for a second. Not only is it not the George Steinbrenner Yankees, it's not even the Steinbrenner boys Yankees when they first took over.
No.
Right? Not that they were like their father, but they were not like they are now.
No.
The Yankees have become a bottom line team.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. The bottom line, the history, the tradition. It doesn't seem to mean that much to the ownership.
No, it doesn't.
And if it doesn't mean anything to them and they're not making moves, why would anyone want to go there?
Exactly.
I mean, other than the money. And if you talk about Shohei, let's talk about Ohtani for a second. Yes, there are a few teams. We always say all these free agents, they say whatever they say, it's bullshit. It's all about the money. Maybe not necessarily with him, because he has said he wants to win. And he is going to make millions of dollars wherever he goes. Now, would he take $30 million less to play for somewhere where he thinks he has a better chance to win than the Yankees? Maybe not, but he might take $10 million less. And I just don't know if the Yankees can really be considered a destination, because it's not the history, it's not the nostalgia. Unless you're a kid and grew up, again, these kids, why would they grow up being Yankee fans? The Yankees weren't good. Some kid who's 25 when he was watching, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, well,
that's championship. So why are the Yankees going to be a destination, given what their ownership has done, the way the team is, operating? And, I firmly believe Cashman is doing what he's told. And the guys in charge are not very good at their jobs. So why would they be a destination anymore?
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
Radio Pete channeling his inner Harry Lugnuts for Yankees.
Now I will breathe a little.
Well, a couple things on that before we talk about the Mets, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And when you think about it, though, the George Steinbrenner era, right? The George Steinbrenner era. Now, good teams, with the exception of obviously some of the teams in the 80s, right? We know that, right? Early 90s, maybe. Once Buck got involved, they got better. Buck, I mean, look, you know what? Not sticking up for Buck and not putting Joe Torre down. Both men have been involved with the Mets, right? But Joe Torre basically stepped in and took Buck's team to the World Series, right?
Right.
Buck probably would have done that too. But that's
different eras, different rules about players that could be traded and where they could be traded and free agency and all that. Right. So,
but if you think about
the same, landscape,
right? Sure. But if you think about this, all right, George Steinbrenner era, okay, he buys the team from CBS, okay. The Yankees have won how many championships? 27. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
They've only won 7 of them since the 60s. Since George Steinbrenner bought the team, they've only won 7 of their 27 World Series. So in the last 50 some odd years, they've only won 7. They won 20 in the first 50 years. They won 7 in the next 50 years. So,
but that's still pretty good.
Oh no, it's awesome.
I would say that's 7 is impressive.
Yeah, right? no. Of course, I'm not putting them down by any means. No, I'm just saying, compared to every other team, they're still fantastic, and there's still the draw, right? But compared to overall, they're not what they were when they were the powerhouse that they were in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s.
The game has changed. You have more teams. Right. You have the fact that players can leave and go play where they want.
Right. Yeah,
it
exactly.
wasn't even a factor until
it wasn't even a factor then.
So
right.
But yes, it's still impressive. But
now on to the Mets. Okay. There, if you see my Harry Who, I like yours. If you see my time machine works since 1977. Now, what has happened over the last week in Queens is unprecedented. I can't remember trading. Well, it's unprecedented just in and of the fact that, the ownership gave away players with money to get rid of them. That's never happened before. Okay. Because we haven't had an owner that can do that before. Right. So that right there in and of itself is unprecedented. But what has happened over the last week is, I understand some of it's good. I don't quite think all of it was, but I'll dive into some of that. But first, I want to say I am wearing a black Mets jersey because that's the appropriate color, I think.
Because it's kind of a funeral,
exactly.
For this season.
And I made sure it was the DeGrom one too. So there you go. And I'm also going to have a beer. I've been waiting to crack this. Okay, I'm going to pour this. Before I pour it, I'm going to show you. It's a Jersey Girl. It's a beer, Jersey Girl Brewing from New Jersey. It's called Mo Pills. It's a Pilsner. Why am I drinking Mo Pills? Because after this last week, I need Mo Pills.
You need Mo Pills.
I need Mo Pills.
So liquid form or pill form or something.
It doesn't matter. I need Mo Pills after this week.
Yeah.
All right. First, let's get the 200-pound elephant, current 200-pound elephant in the room out of the way and just say, last night's game, you did watch Pete, you did watch the game last night, right? Or some of it,
I
or at
think I
least
watched.
heard about it at the
I
end.
think,
What happened? How they lost?
no, actually, I don't know how they lost.
All right, well, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to fill you in. All right. Mets where it was tied 1 with playing Kansas City in Kansas City. It was tied 1-1.
Yeah, I was watching. It was 1-1, and then it was boring, and I lost interest.
Right. So it got to the 7th inning. The Royals got the first letter. The Royals got. I'm looking at a Reds banner over here. The Royals got a 2 runs, so on to 3. All right, 3-1, and then the Mets came back and went up 4-3. All right.
Okay. This is all in the 8th.
In the 7th.
Okay.
And then the 8th goes by, and then they get to the 9th, and they can't close out the game. The Royals score a run and tie it. So now it goes to they scored that run in the 8th. That's right. So then 9th goes by, nobody gets any runs. It's going extra innings, right? Ghost runner on second. Alvarez is up. First batter of the extra innings. Home run. Mets go up 6-4. Okay. They can't play at anybody else. 3 outs. They are still up 6-4. On come the Royals. On come the horrible pitching. Okay. Let's see. Brooks Raley. I think I don't even know who the hell who
was one of the names in trade rumors. Raley.
Right.
He was considered one of the pieces of the Mets bait that might go somewhere.
Right.
But
exactly.
Maybe too bad he didn't after that.
Too bad he didn't, right? But they had 3 pitchers. In fact, you know what? Let me pull it up really quick. I'm just doing it on my phone. It'll be easier.
I
quicker.
just find it hard to.
Well, I'll tell you what happened though.
The Mets bullpen without Diaz and Robertson just couldn't hold the lead. That seems strange to me.
Does it now?
No, right? Not at all.
All right, so here we go. Yeah. Brooks Raley comes in, and he gives up a run. All right. Then Hartwig comes in, and he doesn't give up.
Hartwig, isn't that the moose from that story that had all the animals living in his antlers?
Hartwig, yeah, exactly. Another run, but or Raley gave them both up, but they tie the game. Okay, they tie the game. So now it's 6-6, and there's a runner on first, or a runner on first and second. They leave Hartwig in for another batter, and he walks him. Bases loaded, and there's 2 outs.
2 outs.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. They bring in Walker. Who's Walker, you say? I don't know.
Texas Ranger? Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris. They bring in Chuck Norris. Now, they bring in Josh Walker. Okay.
Josh Walker. Okay.
Josh Walker. Anyway, they bring in Josh Walker. He proceeds to come in. He's gonna get an out, right? He doesn't want to walk another batter, get a hit, obviously, because then the game's over. It's a walk-off, right? So he comes in. He's having a problem with his headset. He can't hear his telecom from Alvarez. So he tells him, like he's motioning to him. And Alvarez is motioning back, looks up at the ump, stands up, and starts to walk out. Apparently, he did not call timeout. Okay? I don't know why he didn't. No, it's not pitch clock violation. He didn't call timeout. The umpire didn't call timeout. Neither of them called timeout. However, they both started to walk towards the mound.
Oh, so the guy ran home.
No timeout. No timeout was called. Josh Walker, while still engaged on the rubber with his left foot, slightly moves his left foot, and the third base umpire calls a balk, walks in a run, game over.
That's a new one.
Walk-off balk.
Yeah, I never heard of that before.
If I didn't throw a shoe at my TV last night, I'm never going to throw a shoe at my TV. All right.
Which is, you can't do that with flat screens these days anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
The old tube TVs, they had a nice glass screen. You could hit it with something.
I know. Just going to bounce off, leave an impression, and it'll go away. Yeah.
Like, I'll just go get a new Vizio. I ruined that one. A walk-off balk. That is, that sounds like par for the course.
7 pitchers last night. Quintana started, went 6 2/3. Gott came in, went 1/3. Ottavino an inning, Drew Smith an inning, Brooks Raley a third of an inning, Hartwig a third of an inning, Walker not even a pitch, a balk, and he loses the game.
He doesn't even get to throw a pitch.
He doesn't even throw a pitch, balks, and gets the loss.
Wow.
You can't make this shit up. You can't. You just can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say anymore. But it's the epitome of what this Mets season has become. Last night's game, wrapped up in a nice brown shit-colored wrapper, is exactly the epitome of what this season has turned into for our New York Mets.
I'm going to say it's a continuation of the beginning of the Cohen regime. And I was just talking about Ohtani and the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
If the Yankees are not, again, because we know the Yankees have money, Cohen, Uncle Steve will probably spend more.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mets will have more. But why would you want to come to the Mets?
Mm.
So far in the Cohen regime, each year has
Mm-hmm.
been a bigger disappointment than the previous one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to year one. How many days were they in first place?
All the way into July.
100.
Mm-hmm.
And then what ended up happening? They were how many games out of it by the end, right?
Do you know? And we said it on the show. I'll reiterate right now. The game that started that rapid decline for the Mets when they were in first place for 100 days was in Pittsburgh against the Pirates, where they were winning 8-4 in the 8th inning and lost.
Yeah,
I was at the game in PNC
you're
Park.
Obviously the black cat.
It's me. It's me. It's me.
So then what happened the next year?
They won 101 games.
They won 101 games, and what amazing
and
thing
they
that you couldn't
the bed
that you couldn't imagine happened last year when they won their 100th game, and what happened at the same time?
Atlanta came back.
They lost the division lead.
They lost the division lead. They won a 100th game and lost the division lead.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was going on, and
all they had to do was win one more game than they did.
One more game, yeah.
And in a month of September that they didn't win as many games as they should have, and they would have won the division.
And then we know, well, gee, what happened after that?
Well, let's put it this way. Scherzer doesn't win his last game against Atlanta, and Scherzer doesn't win his game against San Diego in the wild card round. And obviously,
So
there you go.
That happens. And so then they shit the bed against San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So, and now this season, they're terrible. They're not even close to being in it.
No. They
they
overachieved to some degree last year. When they started playing worse or not as good baseball in September, that's the team that we got this year. Whatever fell apart in September stayed with them through this season.
Well,
they didn't go back to what they were doing from April to through August last year. Whatever happened in September continued into this year. Whatever that is, it continued into this year. I don't know what it is. I'd like to know what it is. I think they should know what it is. Maybe they, you'd think they would do something about it, but whatever it was,
it was a team, but it was a team, I guess, that looked better on paper. And we all looked at the Scherzer and Verlander deals, and we went, okay, let's see if it works out. This can't, and look, the Verlander wasn't pitching terribly for the Yankees. I mean, for the Mets.
No, he had a sub 5.15 ERA in the last 7 games.
Yeah.
That's bad.
It's Scherzer who's. We all said they can't both fall off the edge, right? This can't be the year that they both. That's it. They're done. Right? Maybe they won't be.
Well, it would be poetic justice, right? I mean,
right.
They killed it in Detroit. Verlander continued to kill it in Detroit, and Scherzer killed it in Washington. Verlander goes down and kills it, and wins 2 World Series in Houston.
Yeah.
And then the Mets get them both, and they're done. Yeah. That's
although again,
quintessential Mets.
Verlander wasn't done. I don't think he's
Verlander's not
done.
done. Verlander's not done.
Scherzer looks like
See,
he's
and
done, although he may
that
rebound here for
yeah.
the last month of the season
All
or
right.
whatever, or 2
On
months of
that
the season.
on that note, go ahead.
But I'm just saying, each year has been progressively a bigger disappointment than the previous year.
Yeah.
So why does anybody want to come here with an owner who has the money but doesn't seem to spend it well?
Right. Well,
So,
you know what? I don't know. I can't put my finger on it because the Marte signing was amazing last year because he was one of the best Mets on the field last year until he got hurt
yeah.
and was out in September and came back towards the end and just wasn't himself, and he was not himself at all this year.
Right.
The Kana signing was good. The Scherzer signing was good last year until it wasn't. Right. So there are things you can look at, but let's dive into the trades for a couple seconds really quick. Robertson. All right. Before I start, your opinion. If they didn't trade anybody, they kept everyone. They status quo, nobody left. They're the team that they were a week ago. Were they making the playoffs?
No.
Okay. Based on that logic, which I'm sure is what the logic they went with, right? Robertson. All right. Robertson was done after this year. Now, they could re-sign him, right? But his contract was up after this season. So you trade him.
They weren't going to re-sign him because Diaz was coming back.
I know. Well, no, they need a setup man. He was signed not to be Diaz's replacement. He was signed to be the eighth inning guy, and Diaz was the closer. So, but here's my point. Whether they re-sign him or not, my point is trade him, get something, and then if you really want him, re-sign him after the season. Okay?
Right.
Kana or Kanya, as he
Canha.
His contract was up after this year. Trade him to Milwaukee, get something for him, and if you really want him, sign him back after this season. They won't. I'm just making a point. You could do that. Right? The Yankees did that with Chapman. The Yankees traded Chapman to the Cubs. He won a World Series, and then they signed him back. I think the Cubs won the World Series in spite of the fact that they had Chapman, but that's besides.
I think he was better with them than he was with the Yankees.
A little bit. But my point is, it's happened before. You can do that. You're not going anywhere. Trade the piece away that's done. The contract's done this year. Get something back from him, and then take them back after the season. You can do that. It's a rental, right?
Yeah, or at least you have the opportunity to decide how much that player is worth, and other teams can decide how much that player is worth.
Right.
And then, maybe you make the offer, you up the offer. Plus, again, it depends on where he might want to go. But
exactly.
But yes.
Now, so that's those two trades. Now, Tommy Pham, good, solid player, was better at points with the Mets than he has been in the last couple of years. So that's a plus, but not the future.
No, it's
not even
a 6 or something like
up
that.
There, yeah. Not even an integral part of the current lineup. So, yeah, okay. That's what.
No, Tommy Pham is a guy who, on a good team, would be that little surprising extra piece that you're getting a little bit more out of in a moderate reserved role. That's a pleasant surprise.
Yep.
And helps you maybe get to or maybe win a championship.
Right.
But on this team where everyone's underperforming, suddenly he's like a major piece of the pie.
Right.
But again,
and that's a telltale sign too. He's not the type of player to be that major piece of the pie. He needs to be the extra little oomph to get something going.
Yeah.
So my point is that trade, whatever, they got stuff back for him. Okay. Dominic Leone, another arm in the bullpen that was decent, not decent, whatever. I thought he was decent a few extra games than some of the other pieces that they kept, but again, whatever. Journeyman, off, trade him, done. That brings us to the two biggies. Okay. Scherzer. Trading Scherzer, who seems to be in a free fall and a decline in his pitching prowess, to the Rangers, out of the league, All right. For the young Acuna, Luis Aniel, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Not Luis Angel. Luis Aniel Acuna, Ronald Acuna's brother, younger brother.
You're counting on genetics there.
You're counting on genetics, but he does have better stats at this age in the minors than his brother did. So that could be something.
It's promise, but it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean prospects don't mean anything. But my point is, Steve Cohen threw some money at him, and good kudos to Max Scherzer. He's going to get paid next year from 3 teams.
Yeah.
He's going to get paid from the Rangers next year, the Mets, and the Nationals next year. So, and he is this year too. So, but whatever. But in any event, that's done. The only piece I think that they should not have traded was Justin Verlander, because he was pitching well, and they needed a cornerstone piece. They needed their ace. Kodai Senga is the ace now. He's been on the team for 4 months, and he's the ace. He's been in Major League Baseball for 4 months, and he's the ace.
Yeah,
by default. Right. So,
well, see, that's the thing. Like, okay, I agree with you, because you have Verlander. He's under contract,
and he's going to pitch next year. And then you could bring in some other pieces. You're not a joke now. You still got Verlander. And who did they get back for Verlander? Let me just pull.
See, that's my problem. Is who did you get back for him? If you're not, because you could say, all right, it's Verlander. He's going to be another year older. He's going to be a little more susceptible to injury. He's obviously not going to be, necessarily the ace that he was, especially perhaps in his Astros years. But then again, the Mets are not a team that is built like those Astros that won those World Series. So that's part of the problem too.
Right.
But if you're going to say, yeah, we're not going to take a chance on him next year, even though we signed him, because it's going so badly now and we need to rebuild, what did you get back? Who's the kid you got back who you think is going to light it up for you?
I think I have it right here. Here we go. Justin Verlander, the Justin Verlander trade, they acquired minor league outfielder Drew Gilbert and minor league outfielder Ryan Clifford from the Astros. It's their number 1 prospect and their number 4 prospect. But keep in mind, it's Houston's number 1 and number 4. It's not league-wide number 1 and number 4. I think they're top 50. Right. But
yeah, I think one of them is.
I think one of them's top 50 and the other one's just outside the top 50.
Yeah.
in MLB. But yeah.
So again, you're talking about potential here, and we hope one of these kids.
I mean, they
turns into something, but you don't even get a player who's going to be on the field for you.
No,
is my point.
And yeah, I mean the Mets got like 8 or 9 or 10 outfielders position. They got 2 shortstops. They already have 3, so now they have 5 shortstops. So that's good.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, if your plan is to go after Ohtani, mm-hmm. which of course it is, why wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. Everyone who has more than $1.50 in their pocket mm-hmm. in Major League Baseball should be going after Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
Well, now you got a lot of little pieces. Right, because that's supposedly what the Angels want.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant now, though. That's irrelevant now. Trade deadline's passed. They can't trade for him. All they can do is
that's true.
All they can do is sign him after the season. He's a free agent, so they don't need anything.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
they just need to throw cash.
You're right. So you got a bunch of guys that aren't going to play for you, at least not for a year or two, maybe.
You might see 1 or 2 of these guys popping their heads up late in the season next year.
Right, right.
But don't forget, you got Mauricio down there. You got to bring him up. Is he a second? Is he a second baseman? I don't know. We'll find out.
But what do you need to get back to? My point is to get back to relevance in the National League East.
Well, all they really traded away, other than Kanye and was pitching. So they need to go get pitching. Now, that's the other thing too. They could have been bolstering up their minor leagues for some trades this offseason. Not necessarily Ohtani, but trades this offseason.
Right.
All right. So now, obviously they need, and the biggest part is going to be bullpen. Now, keep in mind this too. Yamamoto is a name that's come up a bunch from Japan. He played with Senga, played with Otani, I believe, and Senga played with Otani. But if there's somehow we're able to lure Otani in, okay, which personally I feel the main reason that Billy Epler still has his job is because of the possibility of getting Shohei Otani, his relationship with Otani, right? But regardless of that, if you somehow lure Yamamoto here, okay, and two pitchers are free agents after the season, Aaron Nola from Philly and Blake Snell is also a free agent.
Yeah, Snell did not get traded.
Snell did not get traded. So you can get, you got Senga. Cookie's gone, by the way, after this year. His contract's done. So you got Senga. If you can get Otani, if you can get Yamamoto, and then you can get Snell or Nola, then you got four, and you still got Peterson and McGill hanging around.
Yeah.
Then you're
that's why the Verlander. I guess just because of the potential of
but the two minor league outfielders have absolutely nothing to do with next year, and those names I just mentioned have absolutely nothing to do with trading. So if you had just think about this: Verlander, Senga, Yamamoto, Otani, and either Snell or Nola, forget it.
Right.
I mean, just forget it, right? But or in theory anyway, because this is indeed the Mets. Right.
Well, listen, this is like Young Guns Part 2, all these old guns, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Mets have had this.
Nobody's old except for Verlander. I mean, people are hovering around 30, but nobody's old.
No, but I'm saying Scherzer was old.
Scherzer, yeah, I just meant Verlander would be the only one, and far above, like 10 years older than anybody else, 9, 10 years older than anybody. But yeah, they have enough position players that they can move some people around. Maybe they pick up one or two that are here and there. They need some team chemistry. They need some bonding. They need something. They all need to go away. They need to go to an ashram in India and smoke some hookah and hang out for a little while.
I mean, it's just like I don't see any of these moves have made you more attractive to Shohei Otani.
The only thing that's going to be
if he's just like everybody else and it's just money and you're going to pay him the most, okay. But if that's not the situation.
Mm-hmm.
He says he wants to win. What have the Mets done that's going to help them win? They need a total rebuild.
Do they, though? They need a total rebuild of the pitching staff.
You need a total, but that's the most important thing.
No, I agree.
That's the most important thing.
No, I agree. But that's one thing. That's one thing about baseball. You need offensively and defensively. You need cohesive units. And when I say defense, I don't necessarily mean the pitcher. I mean all the other position players, okay? You need cohesion, okay? Pitching staff is part of it once every 5 days, right? And the bullpen is the bullpen, obviously.
Yeah,
you need work there, but you need more cohesion in the position players and the hitters than you do with the pitching staff. So, and, a large percentage of your, by the way, quick aside, this is me trying to convince myself that it's not an absolutely horrible thing of what's happened over the last couple of days. But to no avail so far. But in any event, you need more cohesion with the position players and the hitters than you do with the pitching staff. And you have, a good percentage of your, let's go around a diamond. Start at the plate. Alvarez. He looks like, knock on wood, he seems like he's the catcher of the future, right? Okay. Pete, there was some chatter today about the Mets are interested in trading Pete Long. No, they're not. No,
they shouldn't trade him.
It's clickbait. It's clickbait. These idiots need to shut the hell up. Okay. Second base between McNeil or if they're molding Mauricio into a second baseman, there you go. Lindor is not going anywhere.
McNeil's a free agent, right?
No, they signed him to a 2 or 3 year or 4 year deal after last season.
Okay.
Yeah, they inked that already. Lindor's not going anywhere for another 37 years.
Right.
With the contract he got. Beatty looks like he's settling in. He has a couple of defensive things here and there, but hopefully that's
he's the new who's the kid that could hit that they got rid of? Occasionally played third.
Justin Turner?
No. More recently.
More recently than Justin Turner. I don't know. Who was that?
last season. They had him last season.
Oh, Eduardo Escobar?
No.
I was going to say, you said kid. That was that threw
Well,
me.
it's a younger player.
I don't know. Who was it? Anybody listening, write in and let us know if you can think of it.
I want to say his name was Chris something.
Well, in any event, Beatty seems to be, he seems to be locking himself in at third. All right. Nimmo's not going anywhere in center field. All right. If Mauricio's on second, you got McNeil in left, or vice versa for that matter. So, obviously you need depth. We're not saying that.
So, having said all that, the team that this year has underperformed, plus Mauricio, is going to suddenly turn it around?
No, but that same team won 101 games last year, because everybody except for Beatty, everybody was on that team, and the catcher was Nito. I'm sorry, Alvarez is a better catcher and hitter than Nito was. So technically, they should be better than they were last year in that respect, in that regard. But something happened this year that they're just not clicking. They're not clicking. They need to figure out why they're not clicking, undo it, and start clicking. That's what needs to happen. I don't know.
I mean,
is it the hitting coach?
You're waving. Somebody has to go.
Is it Buck? Is it analytics? Because I'm a big proponent of the fact that I think it's analytics. I think they need to take the sabermetrics and shove them up somebody's fucking ass and play baseball.
They're not going to.
I know they're not.
So that's going to stay the same. And Buck is going to do what Buck does. And they'll need to decide whether that's good enough or not. But I just don't see any reason why this team, as it's basically consisted of now, is going to suddenly be better, because they should. You can't wave a magic wand and make people click.
Right. Well, what are you going to do? You're not going to get rid of Alonso. You're not going to get rid of Beatty. You're not going to get rid of Alvarez. You're not going to get rid of McNeil. You're not going to get rid of Nimmo.
You don't know who's going to be pitching for you.
Right.
We can throw out all the names that we would like to have, but
they need to pick up a solid outfielder on a 2-year deal. Maybe they even get Kanye back. But they need to pick up a solid outfielder on a 2-year deal, while these other 500,000 outfielders that they got back in these trades develop in the minors, and maybe convert 1 or 2 of these 97 shortstops that they have to playing another position too. All right, you still got Guillorme on the bench. He's your prototypical bench player. He can hit the ball on occasion, and he's got a ridiculously good glove. So late inning defensive replacement, occasional starter when somebody needs a day off anywhere, pretty much in the infield, and and then obviously another bench player or two. Get the hell rid of Vogelback. Goodbye. And they brought up names like that. DJ Stewart, they brought him up, but Mendick was playing last night. Rafael Ortega was playing last night.
Who's that?
Exactly. Case in point. Right. So get rid of this crap. Whatever you're going to do through the motions the next 2 months, whatever you're going to do. The good thing about it is now tickets are going to be even cheaper, so we can go check out a couple of games and just have a good time, not even paying attention to the damn game at Citi Field, and just having a couple of beers and some, something to eat.
Well, listen, free agents next year, you got Cody Bellinger, as far as your outfielders go, who did not get traded. Conforto apparently can opt out and become a free agent. Jorge Soler as well can do that.
Yep.
There's a few other names on this.
Here's another one right here. This guy's available after this season too. Where is it? There we go. Chico Escuela.
Yeah, he's usually available at the beginning of every season.
Yeah, he is. So,
yeah,
baseball have been very, very good to him.
I just don't see how the Mets are a destination team.
It's about the money. It's about the money. And you know what? If you get everybody, if you get one person on board and then you get another person on board, and then all of a sudden it starts to look like it's coming together, like Lou Brown said in Major League, it's starting to come together, right?
Yeah.
If it looks like it's coming together in the offseason, then it will be a little bit more attractive. So money can start the attracting, and then the players that you attract with the money will help attract along with the money some others. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but if it's not, but again, I saw a thing on Facebook and it was, whatever, a picture of Max Scherzer in his Mets uniform, and it was like, "Thanks, Max," from a fan.
Right.
I was like, "Thanks for what? What did Max Scherzer ever really do?"
Thanks for losing the game you should have won against Atlanta and losing the game you should have won against San Diego.
Yeah.
So we could have gone. And if you won the game, you should have won against Atlanta, we would have been playing San Diego.
Right. Now, look, I like Max Scherzer, the Warrior and the championships, the series he's won. And he's, I love everything about him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying he didn't really do very much for the Mets.
Not so much.
So I'm not.
And what pisses me off too, on a separate note, Jersey owner, Jersey Johnny, right? Okay. Every year, now I get jerseys here and there, and I pick some up here, and I get this here. But every year, I get a current player's jersey. Once a year, unless something happens where I just come across something I can't turn down, right? But once a year, I actually physically go out and look, and I get one new current player's jersey. In 2020, it was Pete Alonso.
Well, that's a good get.
It's a good get, right? It's a good get. In 2021, it was Francisco Lindor. Okay.
So long-term contract, you're
right. Yeah, I think I'm safe getting this one, right?
It's going to be relevant for at least a couple of years.
Right. Last year, I got Max Scherzer.
Yeah, that was risky just because of his age.
I
feel bad. I hope he comes back in the rest of the year, finds his stuff, and pitches well.
I know. I agree.
He was a multi-million-dollar bust for the Mets.
I'll give you 3 guesses whose jersey I bought this year.
Mark Canha.
No.
Whose jersey would you buy this year?
It's not a long walk. Who did I get last year?
Oh, so was it Verlander this year?
It was Verlander. I bought a Justin Verlander jersey this year. Yeah. So, yeah. And I only bought it in June. So I was able to own a jersey of a current Mets player that I bought this year for a month and a half. So that was fun.
But it was a pretty good month and a half.
It was a good month and a half. It was a great month.
The best part of his tenure with the Mets.
I think. Other reason why I didn't want him traded. No, I'm kidding.
I think it was the best part of his tenure with the Mets, wasn't it?
It was. It was the best.
You could have bought the jersey at the beginning of the year, and then he was hurt, and you'd be like,
And then the first couple games back, he didn't pitch well. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, so you got it. He went on a tear.
Sub 1.5 ERA. So he you know what? And I'm planning on going to a Mets game with someone. We have to figure out when. I was going to wear that jersey. I'm not now, but
Well, actually, we were talking about that, and I think I read the other day that if Senga and Ohtani both pitch all their games when they're supposed to, they will meet on the 27th.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
interesting.
And now that he's not being traded, why wouldn't he just pitch on his regular schedule? Of course he would.
Of course he would. Well, unless somebody else is a scratch and he has to move up. That's the only difference. Right. Either way, Ohtani's playing, but it's just a matter of pitching, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We might want to look at that day as well. I don't know what. But anyway, we'll talk about that.
It's a possibility. Yeah. So we'll talk about it up there. In any event.
It's been disappointing for the Mets and the Yankees this year.
Very, very, very disappointing for the Mets and the Yankees. Look, we're going to keep an eye on it. We'll mention it obviously over the next couple of weeks. We don't have a show next week. The week after we're back to the regular shows. 3 weeks from next week, so 4 weeks from tonight, which would be the 30th. We're doing our NFL kickoff show. And it's going to be NFL heavy from that point on. But obviously, and we'll talk baseball, but we'll talk about what's relevant, and the Mets are not. So we'll probably talk less and less about the Mets at that point, unless there's news. So the bulk of what's going to happen as far as Mets talk on this show is going to probably be, starting in November and December, and we'll look at it then. So But in any event, you know what? We wish the players that left the Mets well. We wish the Mets well. Hopefully, they don't lose by lightning striking the baseball and it blowing up in the umpire's face, and he calls another balk, and or calls the game on account of lightning. I don't know. I was going somewhere with that, but I couldn't figure out where to go anyway. But in any event,
I did say the other day in a fit of
anger.
A moment of piquedness. I said that I hope Max Scherzer does it at least as well with the Rangers as Jacob deGrom did.
Yeah,
which was mean.
I do have to. You know what?
But I was bitter at the time.
I like that. At least as well as Jacob.
At least as well, yeah.
So I got to pull up the Mets schedule here. I just want to see one thing. Here we go. Mets schedule. There's a reason I'm pulling it up. As soon as I find what I'm looking for, I will tell you. I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
I gotta tell you though. I mean, if things kind of shake out the way they're looking right now in the American League, I don't know if I'm going to root for Baltimore or Texas.
Okay. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Well, Wednesday we have a show. Tuesday I have a show. So Monday, I don't know if you can go to a Monday game. But I'm not sure who's pitching. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, August 28th, August 29th, and August 30th, the Rangers are in town. Ooh. And Scherzer should be pitching one of those games.
So we'll get to see him throw a perfect game.
We will get to see the no-no for the Rangers, is what we will say. So we might want to look at that too as it gets closer. Look, tickets are going to be available. They're not selling out. They don't sell out when they're good. They're not selling out now. Okay,
we'll get selling out.
We can get day of tickets for like $5. So I'm not really worried about that. We need to see when Ohtani's scheduled to pitch, Scherzer's scheduled to pitch. We need to figure. I'll go to both. I'll go to both if you want to do that. I'm fine with that too. But
yeah, we can do that. We can do it. So we get the Angels and then Texas coming to town right after that.
Exactly.
So yeah, we could do our own little day doubleheader, so to speak.
We can do that. Yeah, it should be interesting one way or the other. But in any event, I knew I had to find that. But hey, all right. Before we go, you did want to. There is a couple of things football wise. This is a Mets Corner show, and Harry's not here, hence being a Mets Corner show. But there are a couple of football things that you did mention that obviously are timely, even though it is just training camp, that you wanted to bring up, and I have one as well. So why don't you do that?
All right. Well, really, I just wanted to, as you well know, I'm not getting too excited about the Jets because they're the Jets.
All right.
And as I always say,
I think I'm getting more excited for the Jets than you are.
I think everyone is getting more excited for the Jets than I am. Although it's hard to stay down, I have to admit, because as I always say, they'll be the Jets until they're not the Jets anymore.
Is your neighbor Emerson getting excited for the Jets? Or?
I have not had a chance to speak with Mr. Boozer as of late, because he doesn't know me. But other than that, that's the only thing that keeps us apart is not knowing each other.
Right.
And there's only so many times I can cruise past the housing development before they call security.
So right, exactly.
They recognize my car. But here's what I want to say. Look, say what you want and what you think about Aaron Rodgers. He's a nut job anyway. And I think it's easy for a lot of us Jets fans to kind of forget all that stuff about vaccines and all the drama and all that, diva stuff that went on in Green Bay. But here in New York, he's doing the right things and he's saying the right things. And I don't know if he has a new publicist or whatever, but he's trying to remake his image. He's sending encouraging texts to Jordan Love out in Green Bay. I don't know if you read that story.
I saw it. Yeah, he did. He did. Wished him well. Said it's his team now. Yada yada yada.
Yes, and be yourself. Blah blah blah. Which is a much different message than when they drafted Love, and he said, "Hey, it ain't my job to teach these kids."
Mm-hmm.
He says, "It's my job to go out and win football games."
Right.
So he's doing that. He's restructuring his contract with the Jets so that they have more money to supposedly everybody's saying sign Dalvin Cook, although I don't think Dalvin Cook has any intention of playing with the Jets unless it falls through with Miami. I think he's trying to leverage.
I think he's trying to leverage Miami by using the Jets is what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's from Miami. He's from Florida. It's warmer there. There's no tax or less tax or no tax or whatever it is. So,
but Aaron Rodgers is doing and saying the right things, and it's kind of nice to see.
Yeah.
Again, he's might still be a nut job, but hopefully they can keep him upright. But I got so many stories open up here. Let me just. Oh, here we go. So the Hall of Fame game is tomorrow, by the way.
Tomorrow, yeah, I'll be watching.
Which is the official opening of
at least 5 minutes of it. So.
Yeah. And that's the Jets and the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And one Mekhi Becton says he's treating the Hall of Fame game like a regular game because he wants to prove that he is still the starter and should be on the field. And, he's sort of walked back his comments about being moved from one side of the line to the other and how it would put stress on his surgically repaired knee. And then he got hurt. He blamed the coaching staff for that. So he kind of walked back that. And he's a team player now, apparently came into camp somewhat slimmer. They said 350 pounds, which he hasn't been that light since college. So he's ready. Remember, he's only 24 years old and has played 15 or 16 games in the past 3 seasons because of injuries.
Right.
So he's back and ready to prove that he is the man and deserves to be on the field and is going to be a good boy and not say dumb things about how the coaching staff moving him got him hurt and all that, which, you know what, might have been somewhat true.
It could be true.
When you move from the left to the right, it does put more strain on that right knee, which is the one he had surgery on, although he's been taking snaps at left tackle, so that's good. Would really love to see him back in the fold and on the field for more than a game and a half. I'm worried he's going to get hurt in the goddamn Hall of Fame game. Robert Saleh said he's going to take 20 or 25 snaps. I'm like, how about 10?
Yeah.
12?
How about 10 or 12 in the Hall of Fame game and then get up to 18 to 20 in the second preseason game? And there's only 3, right? And then in the Giants preseason game, or no, they have 4 because they have the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but increase it.
Yeah. It's so, anyway, I hope it works out. I'm just knocking wood that he stays healthy. Bless you.
Thank you.
So, that's isn't that when is the Jets-Giants game? Isn't that the end of August too, right?
That is the end of August. Yeah, where is
20? Maybe that's the 26th. I think I saw.
That is the 26th. It is the 26th.
Oh, so we might have to have a sports weekend.
Huh?
What did you think about that? I'll go to Jersey. I assume the Jets and the Giants will be playing in Jersey.
Well, yeah.
Since that's where they both play.
Either way.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's but it's funny. It's the preseason game and the regular season game because they play in the regular season this year too. Because the NFC East is playing the AFC East. Right. Both games, Giants Jets this year are both Giants home games.
Home games, yeah.
Giants home games.
So I'll come to your home state, maybe watch some football, and then we'll meet in Queens.
Yeah, and watch some baseball.
Not exactly in middle ground, and we can watch some baseball. We'll have to
little closer to you. I mean, honestly, MetLife Stadium is probably middle ground.
Oh yeah, that's
true. You're probably as close to MetLife as I am. So
yeah, that's true.
Or vice versa.
I forgot how far down the coast you are.
Yeah, I'm an hour down. You're an hour out. So
in your
in the middle, right? There you go.
In your beachfront villa there.
Oh yeah.
And I finally, I think this is the last thing we talked about Dalvin Cook and all that. One thing real quick. Did you know they changed the kickoff rule?
Yes or no? Say it. I'm not sure. Maybe.
So the new rule is any fair catch inside the 25-yard line on kickoffs will be ruled a touchback, and the possession will start at the 25.
Oh. All right, hold on. Is Rob Manfred now making up rules for the NFL as opposed in addition to MLB?
Maybe this is.
I know. So
now here's
in the event of overtime, there's a ghost wide receiver 20 yards downfield.
No, you just put him in the end zone.
And if you can stop the ball and get it downfield,
they're basically just trying to get rid of kickoff and punt returns. They just want to get rid of them.
Right.
So just think about this. A fair catch, and this is on a kickoff, inside the 25. Why would you fair catch inside the 25? I don't know. You would think you would want to run the ball, unless it was a really super high kick, and you felt like, I'm going to get plastered if I try and run this thing.
Right.
But now,
if you're catching the ball, that's what it is, right? The odds of there being a kick that lands
a return,
the odds of there being a kick that lands more shallower in the field than the 25-yard line, like at the 28 or the 30 or the 35, unless they shank it, right?
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, right? So
most kickoffs go out of the end zone these days anyway.
If it's not going out of the end zone, it's getting caught between the goal line and the 25-yard line, right? So you're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. They're going to have this in place for a year or two, and then they're going to say, hey, well, we went through every single kickoff, and other than a shanked kick or onside kicks, every kickoff was a touchback. So let's just put the ball on the 25-yard line and off they go.
Because
that's what they're doing. You're right.
Unless you're going to catch the ball at like the 20 or whatever,
right?
Why would you even want to run the ball back? Right?
It would make no sense. If you catch the ball on the 20, you can probably get to maybe you get to the 30. Because you got to remember, if you catch on a 20, you're closer to the defenders that are coming at you.
Right.
They don't have those extra 20 yards to run to get to you. So
right. Most long kickoffs do not happen on a short kick. It happens on a longer kick where your team has a chance to set up in front of you.
Right.
And you can get ahead of steam going.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. So if you catch the ball on the 5-yard line, you're
just going to fair catch it.
You're going to fair catch it because you're getting another 20
You're going to get 20 yards. You're going to get a free 20-yard return.
Right.
So in the event they don't kick it out of the end zone, I would say anything from the 15, between the 15 and the goal line, why would you not fair catch it?
Right.
I'll take my 10, 20, potentially up to 24 yards for free, and I don't have to risk getting hurt.
Right.
Unless it's late in the game and you have not a whole lot of time to go far. Although, as we've seen in the last couple of seasons, you don't need a lot of time to go far. You can go down the field in 13 seconds.
Right. Well, right? Only if you have Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow,
or Patrick Mahomes,
Mahomes, or Josh Allen. That's it.
Right.
Those 4 guys. So,
but still, so so that might be. Well, we need a big return. So, but in that case, the kicker's probably going to kick it out of the end zone anyway. So,
right.
Yeah, I think you're right. In another 2 years, there won't be any kickoff returns whatsoever. I think. And
ghost wide receiver 20 yards downfield. That's
week 8, Sunday, the 29th.
October.
Jets and Giants.
Yep.
That's going to be great. 2 days before Halloween.
Yeah, if
people are going to be dressed up in costume. And
if we don't get to have our sports weekend, like we just said, and we don't get to the Jets-Giants preseason game, we should go to that one.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to assume you can have the sports weekend, just for the sake of the argument.
Of course.
My question to you is, do you have a spare room?
Here, you know what?
Because I can have the sports weekend. I may not have a place to live afterwards. But I can do it. I am allowed to do it. I am my own man. And I can do what I want.
I can do what I want.
But my car is not comfortable to sleep in.
No, it's a little
So if you've got an old couch or even a reclining chair in the basement or the garage, then sports weekend can be on.
We can talk about this.
All right.
Anyway.
All right.
All right.
Next to last but not least, when do the Jets play Denver? You saw Sean Payton's comments about
October
Nathaniel Hackett.
3rd, of course. Yeah, October 3rd, I think it is. I'll double check while you talk about it. I think it's October
Here's the
3rd.
question. Here's the thing, though. Is he right? I mean,
No, he's not right. He's not right.
He's not right. Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers had his best years.
October 8th.
October 8th, week 5 at the Broncos. So that's going to be interesting. But the question really is, was Sean Payton
October 3rd is a Tuesday, so that would have been interesting. So.
Tuesday. Don't listen. That's going to happen in another couple of years too.
Yeah.
The NFL is only on 4 separate days a week, so Tuesday seems to be the next natural game to go to.
Exactly.
Was Sean Payton's criticism of Nathaniel Hackett? I think Hackett said it was there's a code, and he called it unfortunate. Was it unfortunate? Was it over the line? Way over the line?
It was over the line. It was over the line. You don't do that. You look. Nathaniel Hackett was over his head last year for a lot of reasons, not just because of his own coaching prowess or anything like that. I mean, he's coming out. Look, there's a lot of guys that are amazing coordinators that could never be a head coach. Look at Romeo Crennel. Okay. Look at Steve Spagnuolo. Okay. He was
there's a bunch of guys from the Belichick tree.
Yeah.
Who were great coordinators and didn't make it as head coaches.
Right. Exactly. So that being said, you have that going, that in place, but also the fact that, the Broncos were in a state of flux last year. Okay. A lot of things were up in the air, a little turmoil, a little of this, the new ownership, things it's not sound exactly like it was with, for how many years, right? There were a few things that also led to it. A lot of it was Hackett, but that doesn't mean he can't coach. And when I say that, I mean obviously being an offensive coordinator or whatever. But the bottom line is, even if he was just horrible, you don't do that. That's brethren, right? It's like everything else. It's like everything else. It's a fraternity. Okay, you don't do that. All right, Sean Payton. I like Sean Payton. I thought he was a dick for some of the things that went down in New Orleans years ago with the bounties and all that.
Bounty
crap.
Gate,
right? But I like Sean Payton. He was a Giants offensive coordinator when we lost the Super Bowl that year, but he was on there. But
he won in New Orleans.
But he won in New Orleans.
He turned that team around and he won.
He was, pardon my French, he was a friggin' dick for doing that to Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah,
he was. He should not have. That was over the line. He was wrong. It was, and kudos to Nathaniel Hackett to say it was unfortunate, because I would not have put Nathaniel Hackett down for saying he's an asshole.
He took the high road. I would imagine, though, they're planning for that game right now, and I'm sure that. Look, Aaron Rodgers loves Nathaniel Hackett because, as I said, he had his best years when Hackett was his offensive coordinator, or at least some of his best years. And now he's an offensive coordinator once again, which he does apparently very well. And so I would imagine Aaron Rodgers is fully invested and on board with shoving it up Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. And I think, I'm not going to say in Payton's defense, but I think this was a message to Russell Wilson to say, hey, last year, it wasn't you. It was your coach. And
it was Russell Wilson too last year.
Well, but I think this is what Sean Payton is trying to say without saying that to Russell Wilson.
Well, he should have said it. He should have said it to Russell Wilson.
He should have done it differently. But I think that's what he chose to do. And I think it is, again, a nice word to describe it is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I certainly hope that. And look, another thing about Denver last year was the expectations were high, right? Because the defense had been so good for a couple of years. They weren't that far, I guess, somewhat far removed from the Super Bowl.
They were getting there. Yeah, they were getting there.
Right, but the defense was tough, and they're like, we got Russell Wilson now, and they had a string. Like, who were their quarterbacks before that? Brock Osweiler, right? I think was one, and
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock, a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of guys who couldn't cut it. And they were like, we got Russell Wilson now. And yeah, he's like 34 last year or whatever it was. Might be on the downside, but he's still Russell Wilson. He's still the guy who took to Seattle to 2 Super Bowls and would have won 2 Super Bowls if his coach hadn't called it for a stupid pass play. Blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah. And expectations were high. This is the guy who's going to bring our offense to respectability. And we got the big time defense. And then it would all fell apart and they went 4-12 or whatever.
Right.
And I think Wilson missed some time with an injury or whatever. So the expectations were really high, and it was really disappointing for them, I'm sure. But
I
it's
also,
too bad we don't have Harry to weigh in on that. But I think this was Sean Payton's way of saying publicly to say to the public, and the message was to Russell Wilson, this wasn't your fault, kid.
right.
It was Hackett's fault. But it was a dumb thing to do.
I also would not be a bit surprised if Sauce Gardner happens to, be running full speed at a defender, at a wide receiver or slot receiver or whatever, and tackle him, and his momentum just happens to carry him into Sean Payton. It wouldn't shock me if that happens.
Yeah, maybe a little play on the sideline there with
right.
Yeah.
So anyway, you had
the only other thing I have, which is not even football related, I wanted to just mention one thing in the NBA.
Before you get there, I got one thing for football.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good. I just want to say Giants camp. There was a report last week that people are going to have a problem with Waller, and it's not the Giants; it's people that face him. So knock on wood. Hope that's true. But on that note, did you see the interception in training camp? Who was it that caught it? Was it? Oh, geez.
Have you been watching Good Morning
I
Football?
did, or oh no. Well, yeah, but this wasn't from that. No, he was. They were. Jones was throwing a pass to Waller in the end zone of training camp, and I got to look who it up. I got to look who it was. But the cornerback comes up, or maybe it was a safety, comes up, leaps, puts his arm up, a one-handed catch,
Nice.
interception, right in front of Waller. It was pretty good. So, and Hyatt, was it? That's who they drafted, right? He ran this I have. Hold on.
Oh, is this the super fast guy?
Yeah, 24.
Second fastest player in NFL history.
No, the fastest player in NFL history. He ran. Where is it? Hold on. It's right here.
4.
There we go. Jalen Hyatt reportedly recorded a speed of 24 miles an hour at Giants training camp. The fastest speed ever recorded before in NFL history was Tyreek Hill 7 years ago at 23.2 miles an hour. So Jalen Hyatt's the fastest recorded speed ever in NFL history. So
yeah.
So
remember Raghib Ismail?
Oh yeah.
Remember Ronaldo Nehemiah?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were fast too. I know.
They were fast. Listen, I wish the kid well because he plays for your team. But you know what? Before we go, let me just ask you: the Giants totally won the Saquon Barkley thing, right?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know why or what. Maybe he just realized it wasn't going to go his way, and he said, "I'll take the 900,000, and then we'll do it all again next year."
Yeah,
but they just totally won, right?
They did. There was no way he was going to sit out. He would have ruined himself physically. He would have ruined his with how the league looks at him.
He would have been another year older,
right? And so if his team is floundering and he's sitting out, he would look like an ass doing that to his team. If his team is doing great without him, then he's not.
Yeah, because who's the guy they brought in? Who's the kid they signed?
Richardson.
Yeah,
right?
Running back.
Robinson.
So that was
Robinson. Yeah.
Robinson. So they were like, yeah, okay, you can sit out if you want, but
right.
We'll just plug somebody in, and it's not going to be you, sure, but he'll get us some yards, and
Yeah,
I think it's really important that it worked out,
mm-hmm.
because I don't think the Giants. I know the running back is devalued, but I think that would have been a big hit to their offense.
Agreed.
Because you don't want to have to lean on Daniel Jones too much.
Yeah. No, it got done. It got done. Well, it's fine. Everybody's happy.
But they totally
it's
won.
over. They won. The Giants won, and hopefully he does well. Obviously for himself, for the team, for the team, obviously, right? But hopefully he does well enough that at some point during the season they say, "Hey, let's do a 2 or 3 year deal. We can offer you this. Let's work something out. Let's get this done so we don't have to go through this crap next year." You know?
Yeah.
I hope that's the case. Exactly. So, anyway, all right. And what was you? You have one other thing in NBA.
Yeah, well, listen, it hasn't happened yet, but it seems like it's going to. We were talking, I think, a couple weeks ago, or certainly recently, we were talking about the NBA and the players running the league and forcing trades, and now all the talk is about Damian Lillard.
Sure.
Who for years said, "No, I want to win here in Portland," and the team owners and such said, "No, we want to win here with Dame Lillard," and now he wants to be traded to Miami. Mm-hmm. So much so that his agent basically told other teams, don't make offers because he's not going to take them.
He's only going to Miami, period. End of story.
He wants to go to Miami, and supposedly they're trying to work that out. And it might be, now there's talk about a 3-team trade involving, I forget who else it was, Milwaukee or somebody, I don't know. Here's the thing that I wanted to bring up. Adam Silver, vampire and commissioner of the NBA, has said, I should have said that in the opposite order.
Commissioner of the NBA, and part-time vampire.
And part-time vampire has said he is not, the league is not going to veto the trade or anything like that. And
so quite frankly, players can do whatever they want or wherever they want.
I think
say whatever
this happens, and it won't be Damian Lillard's fault, so to speak.
No.
But I think if this deal and the way it's going down, and again, Lillard's agent or his representative, whoever it was, saying, to other teams, don't bother making an offer. After years of saying, I want to stay in Portland, suddenly he wants to go somewhere else. After years of that, saying, okay, now I want to be traded, and then his people saying, don't bother, he only wants to go to Miami. And if that happens, and Silver and company don't do anything about it, then that's it. This will be and it's already, going that way, the official end of anything other than the superstars or the stars, and Lillard is a superstar, running the NBA. And going wherever they want and teaming up whoever they want. And good luck. The barn door is ajar right now. And if this trade goes through, which it probably will, it seems like it's going to, then that's it. That door swings wide open and all the horses run out, and Adam Silver will be
heading out at midnight again.
He will be as much a figurehead as anyone else.
He will be as much, yeah, exactly.
He won't have any control over anything.
He will have as much control over the NBA as this pen does.
Exactly.
So
we will see. That's and you know what? I don't know. I'm finding it harder and harder to crank up any ire about this. Because you know what? So what?
True.
Now I'm bitter because my team, the New Jersey Nets, almost benefited from this. The New Jersey Nets. Yeah. They did this back in the day, and it didn't work out, right? With Paul Pierce and KG and all that.
Sure.
That fell apart and didn't work. My Brooklyn Nets have done it with KD and Kyrie, and it didn't work out. That fell apart. So I'm like, okay, again, when they were the New Jersey Nets, it wasn't exactly the same thing because it wasn't exactly the same climate as it is right now. But it was that same kind of super team sort of thing. Right?
Sure.
But
you would have thought with Pearson and Garnett that something would have, been a little better than it was.
Yeah. We had our shot, and then we had another shot with one of the all-time greats and another great player who's
the all-time annoyance
weirdo. Yeah, the all-time weirdos, the all-time flakes. And that didn't. So I can't say I'm against it because it's the closest we've ever gotten.
Fair enough.
Other than a couple of NBA finals,
Right. Well, I mean,
25 years ago.
yeah, you got that one ABA championship. So
Yeah, okay, yeah.
when
I
we
don't
were
know. I think it's just as many
7
people think of Dr. J as a Sixer as they do a net.
a net, right?
So we get half of Dr. J
There
and
you go.
one ABA championship.
Right.
So I can't really be all up in arms because this is a disgrace because again, my team did it too, and unfortunately, we didn't benefit from it to the same degree. Now, again, Miami hasn't. They did benefit from their big three, right? That was kind of the people look at the start, right? LeBron went there and colluded,
Mm-hmm.
right, with Bosch and everything to join Dwayne Wade there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just it.
Finding it harder to get really upset about the players running the league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had a really, really exciting playoffs this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as long as the play is good, what do I care who's running the show?
Doesn't Bosch, James, and Wade sound like a law firm?
Sounds like an ownership firm.
Right.
Bosch, James, and Wade, Florida Sports Team Ownership Corp.
Right, exactly. Anyway.
So I don't know, but Silver says he's not going to veto it. He says so far. There might be some other party involved that might have some say in it, but I think he's the ultimate authority. So Get ready for even more the Wild West that is the NBA free agent trade, forcing a trade. Let's call it I want to name it after James Harden.
and rightfully so.
Don't you think it should be named after James Harden?
I mean, you know what? I mean, think about it though. He's probably at this point in his career thinking that if he just has a few other trades and moves to a few other teams, he can actually accomplish something that no one's ever done and play for every single team in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not the only guy who ever forced a trade, but he's probably the best at it. Yeah, or at least the most prolific at it.
That's definitely true.
So let's call it the Harden era.
The Harden era
is about to get
the hardening of the NBA.
The hardening of very nice. I like that. The hardening of the NBA is about to get bigger and bolder.
There you go.
So enjoy. Right. Just hope your team is on. Is one of those that's successful at it. And
right.
Don't be a Nets fan.
Yeah, this is true.
Or they're never going to do anything ever again.
Knicks or Nets. I mean, at this point in time, it's hard. At this point in time, what's odd is that the best team right now, having played any sport in New York right now, are probably either the Rangers or the Devils. And if you don't want to say the Devils because they're in New Jersey, it's the Rangers. Hockey is the best sport for success-wise.
In New York you could say the Bills.
Well, yeah, if you want to go there. So.
But now, listen, one other thing about this is, assuming this happens and Damian Lillard goes to play, takes his talents to South Beach, I believe it is. I don't know if it's going to be even more of a shift, but the East, as far as the NBA goes, is getting stronger.
Yeah.
The West is not the dominant force that it was.
It's
starting to get a lot more even.
Yeah, it's cyclical, right? I mean, the East was the beast, and the West was lower, and then the paradigm shifted, and now it's going back the other way. So
but I mean, we're getting more real quality teams. Like you look at the NBA Finals, and you go, well, it's not a given that a Western team is going to win,
right?
Even though that keeps happening.
Even though it keeps happening, right? Exactly.
But
3 years ago it didn't, but
right.
Last year and the year before it did.
Yeah, but this will shift a little bit of that balance of power.
Right.
I mean, just think about if Lillard's on the Heat, And you still got Boston still going to be
Yeah.
good. And
Yeah, if you had
right,
Lillard
they
on
got
the
Antetokounmpo, and they signed his cousin or his brother. Recently, I read the other Antetokounmpo. He
right,
re-signed with Milwaukee.
right.
The Nets are not going to be.
It's going to be the Milwaukee Antetokounmpos.
Yeah. I said there's several. There's a couple others I think
Yeah,
that play basketball. So
and his father's hobby was flying his kite. But
Antetokounmpo passes to Antetokounmpo. Antetokounmpo open. He's open for three. It's a pass underneath to Antetokounmpo. You can't.
yeah, I'm not going to be. Yeah, I don't want to be that
You don't want to be the
play-by-play
announcer.
caller. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Well, it should be interesting.
It could be. It could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, and listen, this would be great for Miami, right? They got a lot more cred now, even though they, got spanked in the
Right.
finals there.
Well,
but,
if Dame was on the Heat for the finals, the Heat. I mean, I'm not saying the Heat win, but
they got a better chance. But I'm saying they got a lot of love, probably in a national setting,
right.
by being the number 8, the great 8, who actually went. Couldn't win the whole thing, but actually got there, and yeah.
Exactly. All right.
So you got probably some new Heat fans out there who would love to see Damian Lillard on that team.
That's true.
I'm sure Jimmy Butler would love to see Damian Lillard on that team.
There you go. Yeah. All right.
Rumor says Tyler Hero might be part of the trade. So
there you go. He might be.
Oh no! Oh no!
So, all right. Anything else?
No, I guess that's about it.
Right.
Let's go USA in the cup, okay? Let's get our shit together here and start winning a couple games.
Go USA win a couple.
Portugal, for Christ's sakes.
Exactly.
Listen, the USA women's team is they're still probably the best, but I don't think they invoke as much fear.
Gotcha.
In the competition as they used to. So.
All right. Well, on that note, we will wrap the show for today. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. We want to thank everybody for watching this special. This is just turned into a regular podcast.
Yeah, listen,
we'll call it a regular podcast. It started out as a Mets corner, but we'll call it a regular podcast. But either way,
it's really a Mets bitch fest.
A Mets bitch fest. Yeah, exactly.
And then we threw in some other
stuff. Exactly. But in any event, we want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with a video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, except for next week. We won't have a show next week, vacation week. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our brand new host. Excuse me. You can do so on our brand new host, Spreaker. Spreaker.com, and they have an app too.
How do you spell that?
Spreaker. It's speaker with an R. So Spreaker.
Just like it sounds.
Right. As well as, of course, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and some brand new platforms, CastBox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser.
Ooh, we're on Deezer now, huh?
We are on Deezer, yeah. And if you haven't
have we gotten an offer from Twitch yet to be on their platform?
Twitch has not sent in an offer as of yet. Hoping to hear from them any day now.
Any day now.
So we might actually want to do some live shows on Twitch. I actually think we can send this StreamYard feed to Twitch. If we can, maybe we'll start doing that.
We should. Actually, I'm going to ask my son, because I know he does some things on Twitch. Well, he has a Twitch account. I don't know if he just watches or if he broadcasts, but I'll get the lowdown on the technologically twitchy things, and then I'll ask him.
Exactly. Get the lowdown on that. The only thing that worries me is that the demographic might not know half of the shit we talk about. So,
that's true, but they know who Dave Lillard is.
They do. Well, that's the half of the shit they will know about.
Right.
But either way, it's a good thing. So we should look into it. So,
well, listen, you know what? My dad is like almost 80 now, and he's as big a video gamer as anybody else. He's retired and such. So
fair enough. He will know some things we're talking about.
He would know what we were talking about. I don't know if he's a big Twitch watcher,
Right.
but I think he knows what it is.
There
I
you
would
go.
imagine, actually, knowing him, I mean, he's an old computer programmer.
Mhm.
That's what they called them before they became web developers.
My father was actually a computer programmer too, back in
Yeah,
the
they were
late 50s,
programmers.
early 60s. Yeah.
So he
COBOL,
would like,
Fortran, everything else. Yeah.
yeah, he's the guy who will like find these little loopholes and how to,
Mhm.
like, he's done this numerous times, to find a little loophole in a game and like rack up 8 million points or whatever it is, and people go, "How the hell did you do that?" You go, it's a glitch, it's a flaw in the game. So I would imagine he watches some Twitch videos.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we got all of those platforms, and we're going to be posting most of them on. Probably put a page with all of those platforms on it. It's basically going to be on most of the platforms that most people watch or listen to, I should say, podcasts on. So, and make over to the website too. So a lot of changes, a lot of good things happening. So check that all out. And if you haven't done so already, by the way, please subscribe to one or more of those other feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. And we will talk to you in a couple weeks, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Bye, everybody. How do we fill